All right, man. Torture Talk. Like, share, subscribe to the page. If you like the content, hit the thumbs up. It really helps me out. All right, so basically, I came across this clip about abortion, and I want to do a reaction to it. It's from a podcast called Just Pearly Things. Go follow her. My podcast is actually pretty good. She's pretty dope. I really fucks with her podcast. And she's talking to people about abortion, and she's giving out numbers of why of what of the statistic of single women getting abortions and all that good stuff. So, without further ado, let's get into the clip and see what we got here.
It's another interesting stat. So 50% of women over 30 are single and childless. It'd be really interesting to see what percentage of them have had abortions.
Do you know the number?
That would be.
I don't.
Oh, you don't know?
I wish I did. I couldn't find it.
Would be better if you did, though. That would have been
But
a
based
banker.
on the numbers you've quoted before, I think it was 97% or 98% of women who have had abortions have had it more than
No, 42%.
42%.
42% have had it before.
have had it before. So that is quite a high number.
Yeah.
So given that,
That's a very high number. That's a very high number. I'm shocked because I didn't even know that. That's a high number. Wow.
you could imagine that these women in their 30s, they have been sexually active.
Yeah.
So you can imagine that in those situations, mistakes would have happened.
Right. Well, and you'd also think about.
Let me just say, I don't think that a woman getting pregnant is a mistake. I think that if you want to say mistakes could happen, okay, you could say that. But for me, it's not a mistake if she gets pregnant, because let's just be clear here. The act of sex is not a mistake. Basically, you already know it's a chance that you can get pregnant. It's not a mistake. You already know that this could happen. You know what I'm saying? So I think that what he's saying, I get it what he's saying. And there's nothing wrong with what he's saying, because that's how he feels. But for me, it's not a mistake. I just wanted to make that point.
Because the other half, that's their first abortion, but will they come back in the future? So it's really, I don't know what the percentage would be if you include, like if we resurveyed the same group of women, but I don't think they gather data like that.
Yeah, but I'll be crazy to find out though.
Yeah.
For real?
Because it really, like, again, every girl that I know that's had an abortion personally, like, they were just irresponsible. They weren't on any form of birth control. They're sleeping with a guy they couldn't see a future with.
Yeah, and my thing is, like, why do women do that? Why do women do that? Why do they sleep with these multiple men that they know that they ain't gonna have a future with, unprotected? Like, because one girl said to me, I posed a question on Facebook, and I said, ladies, don't blame the system. Just be more responsible. And she literally got on there and said, well, cut it out. Y'all should make sure y'all wear a condom. But the argument to that is, it's always my body, my choice. Always my body, my choice. So I'm not responsible for what goes up in your body then, if it's your choice. So if you know that if we gonna have unprotected sex and you don't want to get pregnant, then tell me to stop. Or don't have sex with a guy unprotected or without a condom on. You can't use the whole argument, my body, my choice, and then turn around and say, well, a man should be more responsible and wear a condom. That doesn't make sense.
And then it's the Rollo Tomasi says it's the ultimate form of hypergamy.
Shout out to the GOAT. For real.
I know, why do women do that though? Like, why? No, I'm not saying all women do that. Let me take that back. But and then it's like, why do some women sleep? It goes back to the question of why are some women sleeping with guys that they don't see a future with? Like, that came back to what you said before earlier. Guys are
because they're hoes, and they want to be able to do whatever they want to do. That's the answer to that question. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not nothing hard to figure out. Them chicks, they love having sex with multiple men, and they have the power because they literally can just do whatever they want, and the man can't tell them nothing. That's what that is.
Guys are out here ignoring the red flags. Like, why are you ignoring the red flags? You're doing this to yourself, type of thing. And then when it comes to the point of going back to today's topic, abortion, I couldn't feel sympathy for you because you put yourself in that position.
So I think this
You
starts.
put yourself there.
I think it begins with the family, and the nuclear family has been under decrease for years now. So as you can see, as the family starts to break apart, like to give an example, the reason why a guy would have to ask for a father to marry his daughter is because that guy the father would often check, is this man worthy of my daughter? Does he have the right characteristics of a man
And
to raise
even
a
the brothers,
successful family?
even the uncles.
That's absolutely right. We don't have that no more because there's a couple of reasons why we don't have that. It's one of the reasons why, because most men nowadays wasn't raised by men; it was raised by just women, and they don't know how to So when they're not close to their daughters, most men are not close to their daughters. So a lot of times this is what happens. They just be like, whatever, or the daughter could be rebellious and be like, I don't worry about what my dad say. I do what I want to do. You know what I'm saying? It could be that too.
Brothers and the uncles as well. But this idea of, oh, I'm independent, I can do it alone, I don't need a man, men are trash, etc., etc., just reinforces these negative aspects, because I think women are quite naive. Like you don't understand men to the capacity that other men can understand men. And I also say that men understand women, then other women understand themselves. Why? Because men have to pursue women. So we have to understand how you behave in order to successfully court and date and get women. So with that, when you have brothers and men in your life and you ask them questions, they will give you objective answers to help you understand the situation that you're in. So like my sisters, for example, they'd often come to me and say like, this boy's making me feel this way, like what's going on? And I can explain that to them. And I'm sure that that's helped them out of countless.
Do you experience anxiety in social or group settings? If so, you may be able to participate in our research study of a new
unnecessary situations.
No, it really does.
Yeah.
Like I started telling my dad about the guys I'd like go on dates with or whatever, and I would just give him stories and let's just explain them to him. And like guys are so perceptive and they just understand men quicker than we can.
100%.
But it only
100%.
helps if they listen, though, innit? That's the thing. Like,
and that's the thing.
Until you actually like listen to what a guy is saying, and I've realized in my only experience, anyway, like I think the only women that actually understand men are women that have had like
Men
2
in
or
their
more
lives.
brothers.
Yeah.
Or like you see what I'm saying? Because it's like if you're forced to grow up with someone, like I got 2 sisters, you got 2 sisters, right? And at one point I was living with my 2 sisters and my mum, so I got 3 women in the house. So I have no choice but to almost understand women, because it's like, why is she getting emotional? Why is she like this? What, so I gotta force myself,
No, it's interesting you say that, because I always say I can tell the difference a lot of times between girls that grew up with brothers and grew up with sisters.
Can you actually?
Yeah.
What do you think the difference is?
It's I've just noticed girls that grow up with brothers often are like more tomboy, less drama.
A bit more switched on to certain situations. A bit more aware of the surroundings.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not always. I'm not saying I get it 100% of the time.
Yeah.
But and then it's interesting you say that, because I grew up with 5 brothers. So it's like, I feel like
your family's like a football team.
yeah. It's a bunch of tall gingers.
Project Mbappe and that.
So another thing. So in 2017, Northern Ireland funding scheme introduced to provide funded abortions in England, Wales for residents of Northern Ireland. In cases of hardships, travel costs are also covered. Funding is provided by the Government Equalities Office and HM Treasury. Do you guys think that we should be publicly funding abortions?
No.
Publicly?
Yeah.
That's
just like the easy way out.
That right there is a great question, and absolutely not. I do not believe that you should be publicly funding abortions. No, I don't think that it should come from the taxpayer or any of that. I totally believe that the female who put herself in that situation now, we're going to get into the rape thing and the incest thing, because I got a lot to say about that. But if we know that didn't happen to her, then no, she should be responsible for that. Not a person that had nothing to do with it. That's 1. 2. As far as the rape and incest thing, I hate when people bring that up and use that as their basis of an argument. That's a very, very extreme case. Very extreme case. Very extreme. So if it's not like a woman still doesn't have access to abortion, even in the case of rape and incest. It don't. They literally can still go get it done. Again, like I said in the last video, it's going to be even more for her, a win-win for her, because now they can go to states that's probably going to allow them to have abortion up to 9 months.
I know.
Yeah.
So they see that, they're like, oh, it's
Way
free
too
anyways,
easy.
let's just go.
Yeah.
My travel's covered. It's covered.
Yeah, that just incentivizes more people to go and do irresponsible things. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's exactly what that does. It just doesn't be like, oh, well, you know, maybe I shouldn't do this. Like, you know, it does. I think that, be honest with you, I think that more people are going to be more cautious now. The fact that, and this has nothing to do with control. It's more people going to be more cautious now because they're going to feel like, well, if I have sex, I got to make sure I protect myself. Because in my state, I can't afford to go to another state. So either I'm going to have this baby or I'm going to protect myself. A lot of people are going to start doing that. I believe that.
Interesting, because you're pro-choice and you still agree that it shouldn't be publicly funded.
It shouldn't be public. My answers are changing now, like, as I'm getting educated.
Yeah.
That's fair.
But, like, yeah, no, it should not be publicly funded.
No, I agree.
At
It's like,
all.
Because, like, why do I have to pay for her bad
Yeah, no,
decisions?
no.
Like, why do I
Yeah.
have to pay for that?
No.
it's like what Paul was telling me. Exactly what Paul.
Well, here's the thing, and this is what I believe the reason why women are, because that whole all-inclusive, the whole Me Too movement, all that, they started all that. They started that. So now basically they make you feel like you're responsible for their fuck-ups and their mistakes. No matter what happens, you have to be the one that take on that burden. And if you don't, then either you're a part of the masculine or oligarchy or whatever you want to call it, the overlord or whatever. They make everything super extreme. This is the reason why where we at today.
Telling me earlier, like, you decided to sleep in bed at 2 a.m. in the morning with this guy. Why am I now paying for what you decided to do? Me, I was sleeping at 2 a.m. You decided to go be with a man. Look what it put you. Look what it put me. I got a good night's rest. You're there panicking about your future.
What do you want?
Want a job that I don't hate.
Like, so why do
Me and you are not the same. Like,
Exactly. Me and you are not in the same room. Bro, I'm sleeping.
They should make that to a
and
meme.
Me and you are not the same. I'm sleeping and you're there panicking. Oh my gosh, I'm pregnant. What do I do? No. Take it back 2 weeks ago. What was you doing at 2 a.m. in the morning? Exactly. So you got yourself to thank for that. And on the topic of should it be publicly funded? No, we shouldn't, because once you give something free to the public,
They abuse it.
it's going to be
they abuse it.
abused.
Yeah.
So it's interesting because I was looking at the numbers. So abortion numbers, England and Wales from 2010 to 2020. Ish, can you pull up it's the first link in the Google Doc. And if you scroll down, go to figure 2.1. Go down, scroll down. Yeah, scroll down. It should 2 key points in 2020.
Cool.
Do you see that? Yeah. So when NHS made abortions publicly funded, you see in 2016 it was 190,000 abortions per year. It's what is that, like 215,000? So you see how
That's just abused, isn't it? Like,
Yeah.
it's too far.
So that's like specifically when they made it publicly funded.
That skyrocketed
Oh my
up. You just told us to skyrocket it up.
So 2016, they made it publicly funded.
Yeah.
Okay, and you can see the
Or
skyrocket.
2016
Yeah.
or 2017. I forgot what I
Okay.
said.
That's the kind of thing that makes you start thinking conspiracies are real in terms of population control. And whatnot.
Yeah.
This is what we're gonna this next part. Okay. So and this is the next part that I was going to talk about. So in the US, one of the number one abortion providers is, do you guys know what it is?
That's crazy. It went from, I think they said 100,000 or something like that, all the way up to like 200,000. That's crazy.
Is it the government?
Planned Parenthood.
Oh, wow.
So Planned Parenthood, it's one of the number one abortion providers in the US. And I wish I had an American on the panel because they would know how big Planned Parenthood is. Like, there's a really big fight on whether the government should be able to fund Planned Parenthood because Planned Parenthood is the number one abortion provider in the US. So Margaret Sanger was the one who founded Planned Parenthood in the early, actually, I don't know when it was. I think the early 1900s. But she was a eugenicist.
Okay.
So she believed that whites were the inferior race.
Inferior.
Oh wait, superior.
Superior,
Sorry. She believed that whites were the superior race, and basically the black population in the U.S. would be double today if it weren't for Planned Parenthood, because the Planned Parenthood disproportionately provides abortions to the black community, so much so that it's almost 50% of black births are aborted. It's 474 per 1,000 live births, and 80%, even to this day, 80% of Planned Parenthoods are in minority neighborhoods.
That's nuts. I kind of knew about Planned Parenthood already, but just hearing her speak that, see, y'all listen, man. This is the reason why I would never support abortions, especially when it comes to black people. I would never support abortions. I don't care what people say. I won't support it because Margaret Sanger ain't do nothing. She wasn't nothing but a racist. And I think that a lot of y'all always screaming about racism, but y'all support Planned Parenthood. Knowing that company is way more they use that company way more and put it in more black neighborhoods. It's kind of like liquor stores. It's just another way to kill a black population off and make them feel like at ease for, killing their child.
And there's no outcry.
Yeah. I'm not surprised by that statistic, to be honest.
I don't.
I'm not surprised.
I agree, and the statistics are just there. Like, we can't argue with that.
So I'm gonna read an excerpt from, it's like 2 paragraphs when they talked about, I can't remember the name of the document I got this from, but Margaret Sanger, a founder of the American birth control movement, was a leading spokesperson and activist in promotion of controlling the birth rates among blacks and others she considered genetically inferior. An avid supporter of eugenics, Sanger became a formidable force when pushing her project designed to employ black leaders to promote first birth control and later abortion as viable options for family planning. She favored the Malthusian branch of eugenics, frequently saying the genetic makeup of poor and minorities, for example, was inferior. Sanger believed that it was necessary to reduce the birth rate among the diseased, the sickly, the poverty-stricken, and the antisocial classes, elements unable to provide caring for themselves and the burden of which we're all forced to carry. Paying black staff members into the 6 figures, Planned Parenthood and other abortion supporters have banned their advocates across the black community, spouting a deceptive yet unified message of the lack of access to quality health care, supported by funds provided through...
Recently, and for no reason at all, I asked Mint Mobile's legal team if big...
Yeah, I guess that was it.
Identifying as, what does that mean? And
that was it. But yeah, man, that's crazy. It's crazy how these things come about. It's crazy. Crazy how we sit back and take these things when we should be researching and looking up and finding out why do they want to kill off black kids so much? Why do they want to say, well, it's not access to health care. You denying her access to health care. And it's like, is it really health care? Or is it really you just trying to kill her child? Torture Talk. Like, share, subscribe to the page. You know what it is.